Hey there, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags. It is I, Mo the Coupe, your resident fabricant and comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, LADI. LADI, what's up, man? We gotta talk about some things. This is like normally it's all business here, but times call for us to actually to deviate a little bit. So it's time for us to talk about what everybody's talking about. Let's put our 2 cents in. The slap heard around the world. What did the 5 fingers say to Chris Rock's face? Slap. I'm making light. Everyone's joking. It's meme heaven out there.
Yes.
It is any way you can Photoshop that slap in the sun. You sent me a meme of him slapping Thanos across the face. Somebody was like, that's how Thanos got that scar on his face. So of course I'm talking about at the Oscars, at the Oscar ceremony. Chris Rock made a joke about Jada Pinkett's hair and something to the effect of that she's going to be a sequel to G.I. Jane. And she had that little rolling eye. You see her rolling her eyes at that.
Yeah.
At it, she's like, this. She has some choice words in her mind. But Will Smith got up and walked on the stage, and it looked it looked at first glance like, oh, this is some dang bit or something like that, and then just slapped him in the mouth. I don't even want to call the face. Slapped him in the mouth. And then went back, and then everyone like, what's going on? And everyone was sitting around. Everyone was sitting and looking at it like mom had slapped dad at the table, and you're just not really sure what to do, right? And
real quick, I do have to give a shout out to Lupita. Her reaction was amazing.
I was looking at. I was like, she's doing that thing where, like you ever see at cheerleading or gymnastics competitions, and someone that they knew they screwed up hard, like they're not gonna place at all, and they still got to smile like everything's all good. I was like, man, she was doing it. So, but I mean, all joking aside, it's yes, there's gonna be memes and people are saying all this other stuff, but it did spark a hell of a conversation. Everybody's fucking talking about this, so I guess, and I mean, we're talking about it. Was this justified? What's wrong? People are like, what's wrong with Will? What's wrong? How dare Chris Rock joke like this? There's a lot of talk about, race coming into it, about, toxic masculinity. There's been a big swirl. There's even a question like, who, how dare some people even try to wade into this? I've heard some people like, the natural like, they're showing out amongst the white people, black people showing out amongst the white people, like black people always got to put their best foot forward, because of that. And that's I think it's been interesting that it sparked this conversation. But I didn't see it real time. I just saw it after the fact. I'm gonna assume you weren't watching the Oscars. So
no, I was not watching it.
So you also saw it after the fact. What did you? I mean, what did your take on it? Like, what was your initial reaction, and then afterwards, when you sort of learn more about it?
Okay, I'm gonna give a pre, during, then after. Pre, when I heard that Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, I thought it was literally a skit. Like, Chris Rock was trying to win an Oscar, and Will Smith slapped him in a joking way and took it and said, "This is my Oscar," or something like that. That's what I thought it was. I thought that's what it was, and it's not that big of a deal. And so then I watched it, and most videos most videos like on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram, they only show the slap. So you don't understand the context. So finally, I found a video that gave me the full context of it, and I was just like, "Oh." My next part was like, "Did he slap?" Then I said, "Was this staged?" Then I heard him yell, "Get my wife's mouth out your whatever, you know,
Yeah, he said
mother."
keep
Yeah,
my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
yeah, and
Twice.
yeah, when I saw that, I was like, he's for real mad about it, and then I started unpacking, you know, because I was like, GI Jane. That sounds familiar. And I remember, which was a pretty good movie, GI Jane. Then I thought to myself, like, in my opinion, I feel that both were wrong in the sense of like, I don't think Chris Rock should have said that joke. I know he was not trying to say the joke in a malicious way because that actually was a pretty decent movie. And G.I. Jane is one of the reasons why some movies where female characters are considered badass, they shave their heads. So I think he was more of like making light of what was going on with her and normalizing it. She didn't like it, which
Yeah.
caused Will Smith, who was laughing at it at first, to not like it. Then it slapped, and Will Smith should have never slapped him.
Right.
You
Yeah.
should have never done that.
And like the further context, of course, being like, you know, she's got a hair condition, alopecia, where she's losing her hair. This is many people around the world have this where their hair is not gonna come back, and you know that's it's tough. Like if I think some people lack cultural context or understanding to know how tough American culture and European culture are on black women and their hair. Like
Yeah,
this is literally something like if you're not a black woman, you don't know how stigmatized your natural hair is to white people.
yeah,
So to kind of have it brought to attention that and I have an aunt who's balding. She's older lady, but she's balding, and that's just something that women all over the world have a deal with having losing their hair. But in particular, this seems like a little harsher, I suppose, for a woman who's not just losing her hair, but doesn't just have black hair. She's losing her hair. And so I could see where Will's coming from as far. And was he laughing at it? Was he laughing at the joke? Well, someone people have said, oh, he nervous laughs whenever he's stressed or something like that. I don't know this for sure. This is just some people trying to provide context. Maybe that's true. Maybe he wasn't really laughing at it. Maybe he was just like, oh, I'm actually upset about this, and because there are some people who laugh when they're upset. And they're not laughing. It's a nervous tick of theirs. It could be. I don't know for sure. All I do know is that he was for real mad. And so no, he wasn't right to do that. Like it is aside from defending yourself, and I suppose there could be some situations where I've seen people say fighting words. There's a legal definition of fighting words. If you are provoking a fight, and in that situation you are not, you're not, legally covered. You're not the victim. You've actually incited a fight. I don't think that's what went on here. And so this was really, his trigger got flipped, and he was right there, and he could walk up on stage. And also, he's fucking Will Smith, dude.
yeah,
He's if anything else, this lets you know he has attained a certain place in the world that's rare, very rare for a black man, which is to be above consequence, if that makes sense.
yeah.
I'm not saying he's not going to face any consequences for that, but point to me one person in Hollywood right now that if Will Smith was like, let's do a project together, they wouldn't at least think about it. This thing ain't gonna change. This is not gonna change at all. He's damn near Tom Cruise untouchable, and Tom Cruise flipped out over Scientology, right? So he's kind of attained that level, and he literally slapped a dude on camera in L.A. County. Got no charges pressed against him because Chris Rock's not dumb enough to press a charge against Will Smith. And also maybe there's maybe they chopped it up and worked it out or whatever. We don't know. But I do know that this is. I've seen a lot of people talking about this, and it's all over, all spectrums, all race, color, creed, whatever you want to call it, and they're all talking about this. And I think it provokes some very interesting questions and some very interesting topics of the discussion. For instance, should black people have to consider policing themselves, so that white people and other, people of other, ethnicity or whatever, so they don't do what they always do, which is, try to make sure every black person looks good at all times, representing for the race. I don't know. That's one of the first things that came to mind, and it was, it's a question like, does this make all black people look bad? And I don't know. That I know how I feel about it. I know LADI did. Is this a situation where they should have been like, man, we're gonna make black people look bad?
In my opinion, I don't think it makes. I think some people are taking it a little too far and saying this makes black people look bad, because we've seen white actors get into fights on set or in other things, and it didn't go much where but this is where I would say it's a bad look for, in the sense of like, when it comes to Will and Chris Rock, it's a bad look in the sense of it may change the way things happen with like comedians. Like great example. I was listening to something talking about this, and they said there's a lot of comedians probably upset about this because this kind of might open the door to people going up on stage and now trying to attack comedians.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because Will Smith did it. You know what I mean? And let's be honest, we all, Dave Chappelle jokes about it all the time, but like he said, I got a banana thrown at me. You know what I mean? He makes that joke, but what says now that somebody, when Chris Rock is on stage, might try to actually truly do want to hurt him now?
Yeah, and that's
what I mean.
That's always been a possibility, and there's some comedian. I'm like, yeah, you don't want to do that. Like I don't believe that Will would have done that to Cat Williams. Not if he's got some sense, There's some comedian you're like, yeah, they're gonna scrap. You don't even pretend like you can just roll on them. But I mean, so there's that aspect. I don't know that it'll be more or less dangerous. I just think that they just need to have better, good security. He shouldn't have been able to just walk up there, but in the interest of making everything look open and like a big welcoming banquet thing, they didn't want to have security up there. Maybe they're going to have to in the future.
In the future, yeah.
But as far as I don't believe that that. First of all, I don't think that Will and Chris Rock having a public altercation is a reflection of black people in general. Anyway, that is some old school thinking in which, trying to mitigate the racist attitudes that were, directed at black people in general. Not that we're beyond that, but I just say fuck the people who look at that and say, look, all black people are terrible just based on that. I'm like, that's, as I was saying to someone, earlier today, I'm like, that's not a question of if that, if there's something that black people should be concerned about. It's not. It's a reflection of, other people, like in particular white people. That whole perception is entirely white people's perception.
Yeah.
Right? Because so it's not a problem that black people have, it's a problem that white people have. So if they're gonna actually hold all black people accountable for something Will Smith did, that's not black people's problem. That's white people's problem. But I honestly do not believe a ton of people. There's not a lot of people that think that. This is, if anything, it's like rich people are crazy. Know what I'm saying? You're rich and you're powerful. You're crazy. And you think you can do whatever you want. And
Yep.
That's that. I think ultimately is it. He was, but let's be clear. He was dead wrong about it. Even if in West Philly that was the way you roll, you ain't in West Philly anymore, and that's still wrong in West Philly.
Yep.
Or the hood or whatever yeah, sure, there's a lot of people chiming in. I would have done that exactly. You were wrong too. Like, be better than that. You don't have to just, the guy told a joke that hurt your woman's feelings. You know what? It's a fucking hard world. People are gonna say shit to you all the time. When keeping it real goes wrong. Yeah, did people fucking remember that skit? They forget that skit when you take your ass to prison because someone stepped on your damn shoes. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Like, but he's Will Smith, and he apologized and everything like that. He's got to set a better example than that. That is, and who knows what lit his fuse, so to speak. There, we don't know. There may be more to it than that.
The one thing I do have to say though is that it's more jokes are coming. I can promise you all that. It's this opened the floodgate.
He already been getting joked on anyway. And I actually, while as we get ready to end this topic, I also want to throw some shade or whatever, some criticism at people overreacting to this shit. There's been some people posting some dumb, like I forget the guy's name, but some guy talking about he could have killed him. No, he slapped the dude in the mouth. Like, just back up and chill out about that. That's it's not that serious. Like, I'm for real. Yeah, I'm just like, people going or people doing what about shit. Like, yeah, well, what about when such and such? You know what? The thing you're talking about, what this other scenario that may be similar is important, but that's not what we're talking about. Don't bring up other shit in the midst of this. Will Smith's behavior is to be judged on its own. Now, if you want to talk about a larger conversation of, how we treat or react to, people acting out, okay, let's talk about that. But don't try to deflect from his foolishness by bringing up other people's foolishness, because we should talk about other people's foolishness too. That's all I'm saying. But Will, you were wrong. I still am a big fan. This changes nothing about my view of him as a person or whatever. Had a bad day, and
because just to let you know, there was more jokes. Like, to be absolutely honest with you, the Chris Rock joke was actually mild compared to the Regina Hall joke.
Yeah.
Did you hear the Regina Hall joke?
I didn't hear any of the other stuff.
Oh, it was pretty bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
She pretty much joked that Jada Pinkett does not want him no more. Though her action shows that she's basically single and you should date me. Basically, that was the joke, and I was just like,
Regina Hall's boyfriend or fiance, whatever. Like, woman, I swear to God, I'm gonna come up there and slap you in the mouth. I'm gonna Chris Rock your ass. That's not funny though when that's domestic violence. None of this is okay. Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Credit to him for not reacting. He could have done some stuff, but credit to him. I'm sure he's going to be. Let me just say, there's going to be some back channel deals, and we might see him in some things that Will Smith produces soon. So hey, just smooth it all over. So anyway, that's our 2 cents and 20 minutes worth commentary and opinion about it. Hopefully, we can move on to more interesting and fun things. But anyway, this has been just a little quick discussion with your boy Mode Poupe and my good friend LADI. So we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.